Thank you, Dr. Alok, and great instructions. Very warm welcome to the panel, and I think couldn't have introduced them better than Dr. Alok himself. Dr. Alok, Dr. Bhatia, and the excellent team, thank you for putting this forum together. We'll deep dive because we've already been made conscious of time. So our panel today speaks to purpose-driven brands for a green world, right? And we have on stage stalwarts who do this hands-on and from a leadership strategy perspective on literally a daily basis. What they have done for their brands is they have moved beyond the checkboxes of CSR to embed environmental purpose into their core business strategy. And let's see how. So we'll begin with Sahil. Sahil, what is the one change you made in your business, right, that reduced environmental impact, one, and improved a core business outcome?
So thank you for this opportunity, and at the paucity of time, I've been told to keep it really short and sweet. So I come from a healthcare and pharmaceutical background, and my organization for the past is a 75 years old company, and for the past 55 years it's manufacturing a ingredient which is vitamin D3. Practically it's an ingredient which is free of cost. You just go in the sunlight, you'll get it.
Right.
But that's the problem, 80% of Indians are deficient. Now for the past 55 years, the methodology of preparing this was from sheep wool or from cholesterol. That is a vegetarian source out of India because you do not sacrifice the sheep to get the wool. But in India, because of the food law, the product, if it is used in India, it will get a red triangle, which means 20 to 30% of Indians will not touch that product, and 60% of Indians will, you know, if I have to have Kellogg's, I have a vrat on Monday and I do not eat on Tuesday, so I can't have veg Kellogg's on Monday and non-veg Kellogg's on Tuesday. So that, again, so 60 to 70% of your target population is not going to touch your product. So what Indians do is we import a substandard molecule, which is vitamin D2, which is less bioavailable. That is the reason 80% of us are even now deficient in, and if you just check your own levels, all of us would be slightly at the lower level. Now, the organization thought that one of the reasons is either we can directly import and start using it as a trading business from China, or the other way is start innovating and create a kind of thing in which, one, of course, in the end, we are responsible also for our shareholders, our stakeholders, our the internal as well as external stakeholders. So what we wanted to do was, first, of course, business is priority. It's a not-for-profit organization. We are all responsible for results. So what we thought is, we started investing in R&D at a much earlier level, and we got a soybean-based product. Now the idea is a vegan product in India, which is going to be launched in the next, I would say, a couple of months. But what I wanted to say was the purpose was designed about half a decade ago. It took time. We had to sacrifice sales. So but again, now it's been launched in Europe. It will be launched in India, and the results are coming. So the earlier panel, someone had rightly said that you stick to your purpose for some time. Maybe starting mein thoda piche hota hai, but if you follow it definitely and you continue on the same journey, I think you'll get your results in a much sustainable manner.
That's, I think, a very nice slingshot strategy, right? One pace backwards and then you kind of really accelerate forwards. And which actually brings me to a question for Piyush, right? Piyush, any example of how product innovation, like, you know, taking off from what Sahil said, product innovation seemed to add cost upfront, right? But what criteria made you proceed? So we'll deep dive a little bit into what he said. And what value showed up over time? Because his is something that will get launched. But if you have an example that's already launched, how did you observe that the value showed up without impacting business value?
Yeah, I think it's a very important perspective to look at, and at Eaton, actually that is what we do every day. Our purpose also says so, that how I can improve the quality of life and environment through my power management technologies. I am in a power management space. So electricity, energy, that's what we call in the layman terms. So for us, everything starts with the capex investment, but sometimes it could be that we have to invest upfront. But the returns will come over a period of time. So I'll give an example of data center segment. We all of are aware data center is a big boom across the globe as well as in India. So data centers need a lot of energy to run the high power graphic chips which give us the AI results. Now to power this, you need UPSs, which if they are of less energy efficiency, they will consume more power. So it will again go to the other side of opposite to my purpose, that is improve the quality of life. So what we did is we are investing into R&D to bring in solutions which are more and more efficient. So that is the criteria we look at. Is it helping the planet? It is helping my customer solve the problem. And at the same time, if with that value proposition of high efficiency, high reliability in data centers, reliability is very, very important. So we bring in solutions. So 9395XR UPS is one example, which is a very high power UPS at a 97% efficiency, and it is modular in nature. So the space reduces. So with this combination of a value proposition for customer as well as fitting into my purpose, we invest into the technologies, and that's how it manages both objectives. There are many such examples, like if you go into the energy management space for utilities, so Tata Power, Adani, we all know, or the Maharashtra State Utility Board. So there we give technologies, for example, there is a product which is not having the sulfur hexafluoride gas. This gas is 23,000 times more potent than carbon dioxide in green emissions, 23,000 times. So if I have to invest into a technology which will remove this gas from the product and put it with a solid insulation into it, there is investment. But at the same time, we look at these metrics. Is it adding value to my customer? Will it give me returns in the long term? If I localize it and make it in India, then the agility is also intact. So these are the parameters which we look at, and that's how we bring in new technologies. We almost invest 7 to 8% in R&D of our turnover. So that's the philosophy at Eaton. So sustainability cannot be standalone. Sustainability has to be married with purpose, and that's how we drive it every day.
That's brilliant, Piyush. And I think you touched upon a great concept, which was, low emissions.
Yes.
It's 23,000 or something I did not even know.
Yeah, so
carbon monoxide is bad enough, right? And we do AQI and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. So which could probably, we could, pass the baton to Yatnesh, right, in the low emissions. So how are businesses, in your opinion, responsible for sourcing and low emission manufacturing, right? Building eco-conscious expectations. So it's not just about us, it's about you're raising the expectation also of the customer simultaneously. And how do you communicate with them clearly to avoid greenwashing? So because,
Okay,
they think
so-
it's a sham otherwise.
Okay. So first of all, our brand name itself has a green in it. So we keep reminding ourselves what's the purpose for it. And it has a leaf in it. So that's the constant reminder. You see, any real estate, any interior infra work is always some kind of you have to somewhere disturb the nature. Whether you have to flatten the land, you have to cut the trees. When you have to bore waters, you have to do something. Whenever you do any kind of the air conditioning, you have to pass it gases. So any kind of the home interior or real estate work is always some disbalance with the nature or ecosystem. But being a responsible brand, taking a purpose as a how sustainable you are, you can make it the certain equations. Like the sourcing is the one of the first thing. So we as a brand, the plywood is the alternate of the timber, because earlier the interior was getting made through the timber. So you direct cut the trees and use it. Now the plywood option has come in, now the MDF option has come in. So you reduces the use of the timber. But how we source it? We have our own chain of custody. We do the agroforestry. There is a 2 lakhs plus acre, the tree plantation areas which we do. It's make the farmer income. It makes our raw material get it sourced from them. So that's the way. And how we communicate, anyone can go to their website. What is till yesterday the tree plantation has been done, the live ticker is there. We geotag those tree plantations so they can check what number of the trees got planted. We publish our ESG report, and being into this wooden panel industry, we were the first brand to start introducing it. Then the most important is how to communicate is to engage the stakeholders. we all know we cannot make our home interiors. We need an architect, interior designer, we need a contractor, carpenters to do applications. The architect, interior designer is still the quite evolved lot. You have to make them educate. They understand what is the VOCs, what is the eco-friendliness, and then they recommend it. And the customer also choose it. But the most tough challenge to engage or the communicate through them is the applicators. Because for them it's not, it's the business. Whatever they, wherever the cheap money is there, they are going to do. But we keep doing the lot of the engagement session. I have one very funny experience. I would like to share it here. In my previous organization, I was working for the paint company, and we launched the VOC free paint. It was the first VOC free paint, and we were doing the mega painter meets. And then few painter stand up after the meet says, आपने VOC free paint launch किया, मेरे को paint का डिब्बा मिला, but ये free वाला VOC नहीं मिला. Where is this VOC free gift which you are launching?
Brilliant.
So that's kind of the awareness levels out there than applicator. But we have to navigate this thing. We have to make them aware. Now gradually they are also getting educated. And the consumer side, I think now we all consumer are getting more aware than the earlier. Whether it's the pandemic has made us to learn, or whether it's the AQI, which now Google has started showing every day to make us to learn. So we started using more and more sustainable thing. So it's a journey, and I think we have a long way to go, but still we are walking.
But you're taking invaluable steps to make it happen, right? And in fact, on the concept of communication, because all levels of customers, so right from your painters to your final consumer, we need to address them properly, right? And which is why I would probably pivot here to Vinita as a stalwart of the marketing and communication strategies in the media industry and in the government sector. Vinita, what do you think of the fact that we build environmental purpose into brand rules for media to support investment and growth internally and externally?
Thanks, Supriya. Welcome, everybody. Greetings to the fellow panelists. I feel storytelling always has been, what do you say? It was part of the content creations, never the system. So, as the architect of global marketing, what we look forward for is purpose-driven campaigns. Not only sending out messages. The motto that we follow is, if we can't measure it, we will not send the message.
Nice.
If we, the purpose-driven messages is not only for the CSR activities or for the initiative that they are doing. We don't separate this two when we decide on a campaign or a marketing initiative that we do. The purpose-driven shouldn't only be a CSR activity that is communicating to the audience or to the consumers. It has to be inculcated as a motto, as a practice to a larger audience when you are delivering to any other platforms also. That communication is needed. Also, when you talk about consumers being more aware and, the pandemic has taught us a lot, what I feel as a brand, we should be more responsible when we talk about environmental, what do you say it, when we make the rules, the governance rules, हमको ये करना है, हमको पेड़ उगाना है, हमको ये करना है, that has become something which is not mandatory in our approach. That needs to come out when we deals with the international brands, or when we talk about, this campaign, or we are launching this. It is changed the perspective of the people. They come and they say, how is it going to cultivate into something that a consumer is needing now, that is safe, right, that is environmental safe, that is for the students, for the kids, for any other larger audience also. This is the need of the brand these days. As a marketing person, I inculcate into this mottos that ki ye aapko karna zaruri hai. It is not only the reach through the ads, to the content, influencers that is reaching. How is it reaching?
Internalizing.
It's internalization. See कैसे पहुँच रहा है? ये ads कैसे बन रहे हैं? ये are you exploiting it? The vendors needs to be taught. How are you proposing this vendors कि आप क्या कर रहे हो उसको? How are you extending it? How it is coming back to the society also? This needs to be a part and a larger scale that needs to be spoken about.
That's a very nice and very relevant point that you made, Vinita. And and the very first thing that you said, if you can't measure it, don't roll it out, right? Which would probably segue greatly into what, say, Anish does, one of the largest platforms in the country, Anish. So which product feature innovation nudged a behavioral shift to greener choices without significant customer entry barriers, now that we've seen how communication works, how internalization works, and how did you measure that?
Yeah, so at Jio, while Jio is known for its mobile and data services, we are more than that. We are into a lot of B2B enterprise segment, where we say B2B, it's data centers, cloud, AI. Particularly speaking of an example here of cloud computing, as we have mentioned here, cloud consumes a lot of power. It is hosted in data center servers. So from product engineering, product architecture perspective, what we did is, instead of advocating people or asking customers to go and change the default setting to green, we rolled out a feature which is by default the green feature, meaning whenever your workloads are less demanding or less consuming, the resources allocated to that workload would stream down.
Right.
So it's like developers want everything fast and everything now. They would overutilize things, but they would not consume fully.
Right.
So we kind of rolled out a feature which we kind of did not want people to opt in, but it was by default, the green AI auto scaling feature. And when we did that, what we saw is the same workloads were running using more or less power, which became definitely efficient. Second, nobody really opted out, saying that, okay, we want to utilize full power. Everybody was happy. And how we measured that was we provide the dashboard to the CIOs and CTOs. So instead, when the user logs in, generally they see, the billable hours or how much computing resources you have used and what is the consumption you have used. So it showed the carbon credits that, you have been saving. So this created a positive impact. So it generated a loop reward recognition kind of a thing, wherein the decision makers saw that something is impacting the environment and we are helping that impact, create that impact. Second, it also resulted into, less opt-out. This is how we measured. Less than 4% really opted out of that. So this means that project was a success, and that did not require too much of advocacy or going in the world and telling that, okay, please do this. Second, the measure was directly on the cost. As you reduce your consumption or optimize your consumption, your infrastructure cost goes down. So that also makes an impact on your overall commercials and billing. So this was a two-approach win, wherein we also won and the consumer also won, and I think that was a great architecture change that we did, and we are reaping benefits of that as of now as well.
Nice. And if I could ask a little bit of a follow-up, maybe. The architecture and the duality where you created a win-win, did AI play any role in that?
Of course, AI is now everywhere, and this feature uses AI wherein it sees what kind of workloads are running. Example, let's say somebody is doing a backup, regular backup. So we would not provision that backup if it is not critical over a weekday. We would provision the backup over a weekend where there are less resources. So automatically the AI, as per your requirements, as per your usage, tracks what kind of workloads you are using, what kind of compute resources you are using, are there any GPUs that you have allocated. So everything plays the role, and yes, AI plays a big part in technology. And advantage is, since we have the backend, we can play with the backend rather than ask people, communicate to them, and do proactive changes.
Thank you, Anish, which actually brings us to a question for a stalwart in the field, Srishti. Where has AI helped you use fewer resources, save money, or earn revenue, right? Net of AI's own energy use. So see, we are combining everything that all the panelists said so far. And how did it benefit your customers?
Hi, thank you.
Sure.
Judging from the smile on her face, I knew the question was coming to me. Am I audible?
You can use this one if you like.
Yeah. So basically, I'm a newbie founder of this company called Drival AI. Okay, it's a car owners and lifestyle and mobility app for people who drive. Now, prima facie, that and sustainability are like an oxymoron. Okay, but that is our mission. Using us and the way we are structuring the mobile-based app, letting it actually translate into sustainability credentials to become an enabler. So we're very, very, very important that we use AI to our benefit. We are using less number of people to actually develop the app. The app is actually going to help people drive much more sustainably. Okay, I can't give out everything right now because the app is currently in development stage. The prototype is ready.
Not fair.
But very, 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 very clearly, it will optimize your driving, not in terms of the kind of drive you're doing, but in terms of your fuel emissions, your use of petrol, whether you're braking well or not, you know, reminders which actually help in the long run. That's a very broad way of looking at it, but actually the conscientiousness comes as far as sustainability is concerned from our day-to-day behavior. How is it that we are using resources available to us? I mean, I, for one, I'm a single person living at home. It's very easy for me to pick up my mobile and start ordering from Blinkit for the 10-minute delivery 6 times a day. But conscientiously, how do I optimize that? So I think it's on a day-to-day basis. It's very culturally, it has to get developed within each one of us before we start petering it down to the organization or to at the team level. It's by demonstration, by example, is very, very critical. What does it really mean, yeah? How is it that, are we using plastic enough? Are we stopping that and using paper more efficiently? We don't have any longer business cards on paper. Okay, so I think every step sort of contributes to being sustainable. Sustainability will happen when we are consistent about it on a day-to-day basis. Yeah?
Thank you, Srishti. That was really nice. We look forward to your app and Sahil to your innovation hitting the market, which brings us to to something that would press on a lot of people's minds, considering that half the audience is fresh young minds who are architects of the future, who would like to know how to, ingest all of this, digest all of this, and become successful in their life journeys ahead. For which we have the ideal expert on the stage, Harsh sir. What new green skills and leadership capabilities do young minds need to cultivate to deliver meaningful progress towards a sustainable future?
Hello, hi. Thank you very much. Well, I think I see a lot of young faces in the audience, and it's very encouraging for me to see so many young faces and students attending the session. But I think there are a few important aspects that we need to understand before we get into what green skills are required. If you look at the government policy, when it's related to education itself or the higher education vertical, I think they're very clear. I don't know how many of you know, but even from a ranking perspective today, the government on NIRF ranking has put sustainability development goals for each campus or each institute as one of the key parameters when it comes to ranking. And I think that's very much in the right direction that the government is thinking. And I think this is something that each institute or higher education vertical or campuses need to look into. But the most important part, again, I'll answer the question on green skills, but what's important is, I think it's important to sensitize the young minds, into thinking green, into thinking sustainability, into thinking about various aspects which go into what I call as a circular economy. So, for example, at our campus, we do very simple initiatives. We have a policy on zero litter campus, which is followed very, very religiously and with a lot of seriousness across the campus. And we do believe that it starts from within. We have close to 8,000 students on our campus. We have close to 450 faculty. And I think each one of us follows that mantra. It's also important that, when it comes to green skills, I think the students really understand what are the important aspects when it comes to sustainability. We know that UN has probably put down almost 17 goals on sustainability. But what does that really translate into, for students? So what we do here is we do a lot of workshops for our students. We create opportunities where we can collaborate with industries, where our students can go and work on real-time projects. We are associated with NSS, where close to 300 to 400 students volunteer for almost 80 activities in a year as prescribed by NSS. Right from simple things like beach cleaning to plastics, and even looking into the entire aspect of reuse, recycle, and how do we create more opportunities for them. One thing that I would like to touch upon is, I think with whatever is happening all around us, there's a huge concern regarding e-waste. And almost, if you just look at the statistics, almost 3.8 metric ton of e-waste is generated in India, and just 20 to 30% of that is actually recycled. And with the entire focus on technology, AI, gadgets, I think this is an area that we really imbibe among our students, is how do you reduce your e-waste? How do you become more cognizant of the fact that whatever you do it responsibly? And we are receiving some fantastic response from our students. As you rightly said, it's their future as well as our future. So that's where it is.
Thank you, Harsh. And there were great learnings for the audience, a majority component of this room. So thank you for that. I see Dr. Alok is yet sitting down, so maybe we have time for a quick Q&A. Any questions from the audience before we close out? Or we go and sustain our hunger because lunch is waiting, either or. All right, then, any questions at this point in time? I'm sorry, I can't say. All right. So thank you very much, panelists. I think we got some great views, perspectives, and forward-looking insights from everyone for how to build long-term resilience all through strengthen trust within our own brand without having, without a customer expectations meandering on greenwashing. They're saying something, we know, they have to check a box. No, it's actually internalizing and building it very forward-looking and contributing to a healthier planet, regardless of what life stage, what life journey you are in, and proving that responsible business is smart business. Thank you very much.